This is in this episode we are going to talk about a lady called Chue claiming to be a Mrs. Nyachae. This case was there 2 years ago. Is it 2 years? Yeah. And there is a YouTube channel that is uploading it. If I'm not wrong, the case must have ended. I'm saying so because some things I'm making in law, it is sub judice. I'm not. People are not supposed to comment on an active case. So it's a long time ago, but we will just talk, bearing in mind that we have to be very careful so as not to be seen as interfering with the case, an ongoing case. Simeon Nyachae Nyandusi is said to have left a huge portfolio of around 2 billion shillings. Now, what many people don't know is that Nyachae is not his name. Okay, his father was called Musa Nyandusi, Paramount Chief, but Simeon Nyachae was the nickname had to do with tea. He was named after tea. Uh, I don't know whether he liked tea or he was a clerk in a tea company. But there are those names that stick. Nowadays, we have a lot of them. We have Ferdinand Waititu Babayao. We have Wamatangi, Sonko. So please understand it along that way. In some inheritance, property is shared equally among wives. Property is shared among wives, and in other instances, property is shared according to the family, such that they can sit down and say all the widows receive so much and all the kids receive so much. But then we have some others where they just say, how many wives did you have? You had three. Okay, one wife, maybe she had one child and another one had 10 children. So you'd find that the one with less children would be better off. I don't know which system they are going to use in this particular case, but if she succeeds in the property and then it is divided among three, okay, if she becomes the third Mrs. Nyachae, then she stands to get to inherit a portfolio of 650 million. Now, assuming that amount 650 million is placed in a fixed deposit, which goes at about 1.5% per month. That is nine. That one would mean you just stay in your house and you get 9 million shillings per month. You spend it the way you want, so that at the end of the month, another 9 million is coming. If we start thinking of that, that alone is very tempting. It's very tempting to place your name, because even if it is a 1 in a million chance to get it, but if she succeeds, the maximum she can get is that 650 million. The issue of her morality with a good price can be put aside, isn't it? What's wrong with being exposing yourself to be lose morals, and yet you stand to get 650 million? Some people cannot mind that. One thing I noticed was that in her whole life, she has been known as Chue. Now, Chue is her maiden name, isn't it? She has been known as Chue, but 6 months after the death of Simeon Nyachae Nyandusi, she altered her identity to read Nyachae. I also noticed that she produced as evidence pictures of her being close uh, to one of the to the undisputed Mrs. Nyachae's. She was very clever that during the funeral of Nyachae, she was strategically placing herself next to the widows so as to be photographed there. It is even said that Justice Charles Nyachae noticed that, and there's even a time he had to have her leave, not stay near the widows. Once upon a time, I used to have a video camera and I used to go around that. And I noticed that some people, especially women, would strategize in funerals. They would strategize in funerals, especially women. But we had a few men who used to do that. If it is a woman who has died, this lady would strategically place herself and end up being the new wife to the man who has lost his wife. What they used to do is that they would go into newspapers to look at the obituaries. They would see a woman has died, she was married to so and so, and from obituaries you can see somebody being named. He's a cousin to Mheshimiwa Fulani, he's a nephew to Justice so and so, whatever. So, and the funeral is taking place in Mudangari. So she would come and strategize herself and be very close to children. Be very close to children because they have lost their mother. She would always tell people, don't worry about kids, I'm taking care of them. She would be the last person to leave the place. Talk to the kids well, pembeleza the kid, do this ABCD. When the kids have slept, then go and report to uh, especially the fellow who has lost his wife by saying that I'm I'm going home, let the kids sleep. Tomorrow when they wake up very early, I'll be back. She would go that way, strategize herself there, and use the emotional mourning of the man to, in those cases, the woman would have died leaving small kids. And she would place herself in such a way that people would start saying, the kids are so much used to her that she can easily be their stepmother. So you see, one of the ways that women, I noticed that time, they used to strategize themselves. But if it is a man who has died, she places herself strategically as one of the widows. I think that is where Nyachae, Justice Charles Nyachae noticed that and had her evicted near his mother's. For those who speak English, when I say his mother's, is a bit of complicated, but in African language, especially Kenyan language, people would understand when I say that. Most likely, the lady is in that group where she places herself so strategically and then later to claim to be Mrs. Nyachae. And then there is this story of the ex-prison warder. If you look at the picture of the ex-prison warder and you look at the picture and then you look at the picture of the boy, they share they tend to resemble. Most likely he is the biological father of the boy. Nobody has asked for DNA yet. I don't know why people like debating when a simple DNA would just do the trick. She is also said to have married two more men, one of whom she acknowledged as a convenient marriage. Convenient marriage. Even with the convenient marriage, she has already said in court that there was a marriage which she christens it to be convenient marriage. She has lost her claim. If she ever was married to Miss Nyachae, supposing it is true that she used to be Mrs. Nyachae, and then she says, okay, I got, there's a Mzungu there in the USA, whom she says she was conveniently married to him. Whatever type of marriage that is, although maybe that is come we stay, whatever, if there is anything that has got to do with marriage, when Nyachae was still alive, assuming that she's one of the widows, and then she gets married to, in Kenyan law, the automatic second marriage automatically, um, especially for women, men can claim to be polygamous or something like that. For a woman to get any type of marriage to another man, it means that her marriage to the first man stays nullified. So this will only leave the boy subject to DNA. If it is true that the boy is Nyachae's and the mother conveniently got married, then it means that the boy will only claim from his biological father. This one has brought about a comparison of Kisii traditions compared to Luhya and Kikuyu. I would want to believe that when I talk of Luhya tradition, I'm also talking about Luo tradition, because in this matter, I think Luo and Luhya have a very similar tradition. So when I talk about Luhya tradition, I would assume I'm also talking about Luo tradition. Now, in Luhya tradition, DNA is the final thing. DNA is the final thing. If the boy is just proven to be Nyachae's son, that's the end of it. It also happens that in Luhya, when a girl gets married and you have brought her up and it is established that she's not your biological daughter, if she gets married, it is upon the biological father, even when he was very absent, to collect the dowry. That is according to Luhya tradition. In the Kikuyu tradition, kids follow the mother. Kids follow the mother, meaning that if a woman is married to Albert, if a woman is married to Albert, they get kids, and then she divorces or separates from Albert and gets married to Ben. The kids now become Ben's, and if later the kids she had with Albert and the kids she had with Ben, if she differs with Ben and goes and gets married to Charles, all the kids belong to Charles. That is the kids belong to the mother. The kids follow the mother. That is the Kikuyu tradition. But in Kisii tradition, just like when we saw the case of the boxer Robert Wangila Napunyi, if it can be accepted that if it can be proven that dowry was paid, then whoever sires future kids with the lady, the kids belong to the man who paid the initial bride price. Now we are talking of Albert, Ben, and Charles. If the lady gets married to Albert and they differ, she goes and gets married to Ben, they differ, and she goes and gets married to Charles. All the kids that she had from Ben and Charles belong to Albert. But according to Kikuyu, all kids belong to Charles. I hope I've not confused you. A lawyer who perhaps was representing Mrs. Chwea or Madam Chwea talked of the lady being underage when she used to date or get married to the prison warder. I don't know what she was trying to get at it, but there are those people, lawyers. I've always had this opinion about lawyers is that they can go to court and give very outlandish comments which don't make sense. Assuming that she was underage in 1974, it would be a big, long legal problem because of passage of time. Okay, assuming that the fellow, the lady and the prison warder were married in 1974 when the lady was underage, because that is what the lawyer was trying to indicate, that you married an underage child. First of all, is it related to the case? I doubt. But even if it is related to the case, because here she's trying to verify and confirm that it is true that this fellow married this lady in 1974. And it is even proven by birth certificates, even ID. The ID and birth certificates are all indicating that the boy, Madam Chwea's son, comes from the same village as the former prison warder. and not from where Nyachae comes from. That case is very straightforward. But assuming that this lady has her way, assuming that this lady has her way, and proves that this man married an underage child. Uh, that was 1974. 1974 to 1924. That is 50 years. Can you be charged with marrying an underage child 50 years on? I think that is what the problem we have with most of our lawyers. Uh, they call them busybodies. These are people who come up with stories to please their clients, whereas that case will not take you anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this is for today. Have a nice time and let us meet in another episode. Thank you.